Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back for another Total War video with the Terminator. For the last few years, Total War has been in full fantasy mode. We've had the Warhammer games in all its visual splendor, we've had Three Kingdoms which had some fantasy elements in it, and of course we've had Troy which is now getting a Mythos mode due to launch on Steam next week. There's been very little room for any historical titles, and especially with how Troy first launched, the likely stripped down historical mode it's getting now, and the total flop that is Thrones of Britannia, it's kind of felt like Saga games have been CA's way of appeasing the historical community with as little effort as possible. So here's my question. Should CA continue to make Saga titles? In this video, I'll be exploring what makes a Total War game a saga, the pros and cons of CA producing another Saga game in the near future, and my personal opinion on the subject. Let's get started. Saga games are essentially lower budget experiments to test out new eras with new mechanics and features, new platforms, and dev teams. Thrones of Britannia with its food supply and new settlement systems, to name a few. Troy with its new setting, new resource system, and fantasy historical hybrid approach. But all in all, Saga games have been a bit of a mixed bag. While Thrones of Britannia was a great concept on paper and had some really interesting ideas and great battles, it only sold around 250,000 copies, lost its player base within a couple of months, and CA pulled the plug on support for it pretty quickly, despite the number of bugs and issues still in the game today. It could easily have been more successful if Attila had continued to get support to fix optimization and TOB released as a DLC to it. Troy, which CA likely made a lot of money from by making it exclusive on Epic, was redeemed for free by a reported 7.5 million players, which, while astounding, makes a lot of sense for a game of its caliber and scale being free. We can't know how many players actually ended up playing it and what its player count looks over time and today, but it's probably safe to say a decent number of people still play it, especially after all the patches and DLCs. So as I said, all in all, a mixed bag. While TOB flopped, Troy was most likely a resounding success, which is why CA continued to support the game, producing new DLCs, and why it's now launching on Steam with the new Mythos mode. Looking back at the history of sagas, it's likely CA learned from their TOB mistake, planned very carefully how Troy was to be released and supported, and shifted the focus of sagas as purely historical titles to be as appealing as possible to a wider audience. And that, in my mind at least, is the number one reason why we would want a future saga, because CA is testing out new things, weeding out what doesn't work, introducing new time periods and new mechanics that could easily be included one way or another into the next major Total War title, hopefully a historical one. Imagine having a new Medieval 3, for example, that uses elements of the fantastic battles and minor settlements from Thrones of Britannia, as well as the enhanced resource system similar to Troy, or an Empire 2, for example, that has the governor and loyalty system of TOB, where low loyalty could lead to colonial regions breaking away. This could even lead to brand new mechanics where something like an independent organization has to be formed to govern entire regions, like the East India Trading Company. It's this testing and learning feature of sagas that could make future major Total War titles so great. Regardless of whether the sagas are good or not, they show that CA is willing to try new things, listen to the community, especially after Troy, and focus all these learnings into making a major Total War title that combines the best features. Another way of looking at sagas is that they are flashpoints in time too specific for major Total War titles to ever really touch. A brilliant concept because, let's face it, we're never really going to get the kinds of DLCs that we got for Medieval 2, the Kingdoms, the Crusades, etc. With sagas, CA Sophia can do these kinds of small flashpoints with more focus and passion, and if they work, that's more money that can go into a new, hopefully major historical title. But there are reasons in my mind why saga games wouldn't be a good thing. If they are indeed a way for CA to dip their toes into the historical market with as little effort as possible, then it's pretty unfair for the people that helped make CA who they are today. Stripped out mechanics like population, naval units, and battles arcadey type land battles and blobbing units, despite the fantastic mods that can be made to fix some of these things, make Saga games a bit basic and joyless compared to the Total War titles of old, or the fact that people who have Troy on Epic will have to pay for it on Steam, which is a bit ridiculous, and again just shows how money hungry this company really is. I mean, I would pay for the Mythos DLC, no doubt, but they should really allow people who have the game on Epic to redeem the game on Steam as well. It's possible that if Saga titles after Troy continue to be successful and they are historical focused, then we may never even see a new major historical title again. After all, why make all the effort to produce a Medieval 3 when you could just make another Crusades Total War, for example, with a lot less budget that could still sell? It doesn't matter whether a small minority of the audience are outraged by the stripped out features and the dumbed down gameplay. If it sells, it sells. Overall, whether you should buy and play a Saga game is totally up to you. Whether they are good Total War titles across the board depends on who you ask, and whether they should continue to be made, in my opinion anyway, really depends on whether CA has any plans at all on making a new major historical title. Whatever we think, the Saga formula, especially with Troy, works, and CA can clearly make money from them, so it's likely they will. I just hope that they continue to experiment, continue to try out new eras and settings, and use all these learnings and successes to create a new, brilliant historical Total War. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it causes some discussion in the comment section below. So please do share any thoughts on the subject and any questions at all. What do you think about Total War Sagas? Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more Total War content, gameplay, and news. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.